Christopher and the Golden Egg, a magical adventure. Once upon a time, nestled far from the bustle of towns and cities, there was a shimmering forest that stretched as far as the eye could see. This was no ordinary forest. It was alive with wonders. The trees whispered secrets to the wind, rivers giggled as they flowed, and the air smelled like honey and sunshine. It was the kind of place where magic wasn't just real. It danced freely, hidden only from those who didn't know how to look for it. Now, near this enchanted forest, lived a cheerful little boy named Christopher. With his messy brown hair that always seemed to stick out in funny directions and his sparkling eyes, Christopher was a bundle of curiosity. He especially loved exploring the woods with his favorite companion, Sir Hopsalot, a stuffed rabbit with one floppy ear that almost touched the ground. Today, as the golden sun rose in the sky, Christopher decided this would be an exploring day. "Sir Hopsalot, let's find something truly magical," Christopher declared, holding his rabbit tightly. With that, he marched into the forest, his tiny boots crunching through the undergrowth. Christopher hopped over roots and bushes, humming his favorite little tune as sunlight trickled through the leaves above, creating dapples of gold across the forest floor. Suddenly, he stopped in his tracks. There, in a patch of moss and tall grass, something glimmered, something extraordinary. "What's that, Sir Hopsalot?" Christopher whispered, as if the forest itself was listening. He crept closer, his heart thumping with excitement. In front of him was a perfectly smooth golden egg, nestled gently between ferns. Its surface shimmered as though it was dipped in sunlight. Christopher knelt carefully, his fingers brushing against the egg's warm surface. It was unlike anything he'd ever seen. "Who left you here?" he asked the egg, tilting his head. Sir Hopsalot didn't answer, of course, but Christopher imagined his rabbit was just as curious as he was. As Christopher turned the egg in his small hands, something amazing happened. Glowing lines began to appear on its surface, twinkling like constellations in the night sky. The egg seemed to hum softly, and tiny golden patterns danced across its shell. Christopher's mouth dropped open. "Look, Sir Hopsalot, it's alive, it's magic." The egg pulsed gently in response, almost as if it was saying hello. The forest around Christopher seemed to come alive too. Even the trees seemed to lean in closer, their branches creaking softly like they were curious to see what Christopher had discovered. He held the egg close, feeling its warmth melt into his hands. Then, almost as if being tugged by invisible strings, Christopher felt drawn deeper into the forest. "Shall we follow the egg's magic, Sir Hopsalot?" he whispered. "Let's see where it takes us." Christopher walked farther than he had ever gone before, the glow of the magical egg lighting the way through the thickening trees. The forest felt different here, more alive, more magical. Rays of light peeked playfully through the trees, dancing along the mossy ground. As he wandered, curious creatures peeked out to watch him. Squirrels chattered, and foxes padded silently alongside him, their eyes twinkling with curiosity. Christopher giggled as glowing mushrooms lit up like tiny lanterns under his feet. Sir Hopsalot rode on his shoulder, wobbling with each step. "Don't be scared, Hops," Christopher reassured. "I'll protect you if anything scary happens." Soon, he reached an open glade at the heart of the forest. The ground was soft with moss, and the glade was surrounded by towering ancient trees that seemed to stand as sentinels. There, Christopher felt the egg hum even louder in his hands, as if it had been waiting to bring him here. "Welcome, young one," a soft melodic voice greeted Christopher. Startled, but not frightened, Christopher turned to see a group of extraordinary creatures stepping out of the shadows. A fox its fur shimmering in silver, danced playfully toward him. A wise old owl with glittering feathers perched on a low branch, its eyes twinkling like stars. And a graceful deer with a glowing coat bowed slightly, its antlers sparkling like icicles. Who are you?" Christopher managed to ask, still clutching the golden egg close to his chest. "We are the guardians of the egg," said the fox, its voice full of mischief but kindness. "And that egg you're holding is no ordinary egg. It's tied to the heart of this forest. The magic you see all around, it comes from that very egg." The deer spoke next, its soothing voice wrapping Christopher in calm. "But the egg has chosen you, little one. It has decided that you should protect it." Christopher felt an enormous swell of pride in his chest. "Me? Protect it? But I'm only small." "Even the smallest of hearts can hold the greatest courage," the owl hooted wisely. "You've already earned the egg's trust, young Christopher." Just as Christopher started to feel comfortable with his new magical friends, a chill swept through the glade. The glowing mushrooms dimmed, the playful fireflies disappeared, and the air grew thick and silent. The fox's ears flattened. "The shadow is near," it whispered. Christopher blinked. "The shadow?" "Yes," the owl nodded gravely. "A dark force seeks the egg's magic, but it would use it to destroy rather than protect. You mustn't let it fall into the wrong hands." Christopher tightened his grip on the egg. "I'll do my best!" The deer knelt so Christopher could climb onto its back. "Hold tight, young one. We'll guide you through the forest, but only your courage can defeat the darkness." The forest became a maze of darkened paths and creeping shadows. Christopher clutched the egg as tightly as he held Sir Hopsalot. Strange shapes loomed in the corners of his eyes, and eerie noises echoed around him. It was scary, but Christopher remembered the Guardian's words. "I won't let you down, little egg," he whispered. Using the egg's gentle glow to guide him, Christopher leapt over muddy brooks, ducked under twisting branches, and outwitted traps created by the shadow's forces. With every step, his bravery grew. Sir Hopsalot's wobbly presence on his shoulder made him giggle nervously. "Sir Hopsalot, we're doing it! We're beating the shadows!" At last, Christopher reached the edge of a vast cliff overlooking the forest. The shadow loomed behind him, but the egg grew brighter in his hands, brighter than ever before. Christopher closed his eyes, holding it high. "Protect the magic, little egg," he shouted. In a burst of golden light, the egg's warmth spread across the forest, chasing away the shadows. Trees blossomed, the river's giggles returned, and the entire forest burst into color and joy once more. The Guardians appeared one last time, pride glowing in their eyes. "You did it, Christopher," the fox said, flicking its tail happily. "You've saved the forest." The golden egg gently floated out of Christopher's hands, transforming into a radiant flower. Its petals unfurled, releasing shimmering seeds into the air. They drifted across the forest, planting new magic wherever they landed. As Christopher watched, a sense of peace filled him. He had done something extraordinary, something magical. When it was time to go home, Christopher waved goodbye to the Guardians and the glowing forest. "Thank you for this adventure," he whispered, cradling Sir Hopsalot. As he walked home, the golden light danced softly behind him, a sign that he would always be part of the forest's magic, and it would always be part of him.